Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Feeling Trapped in Your Mind from Dandapani. I wonder, trapped in your mind. I don't know, I thought this was a pretty interesting one, although I am limited on his videos. But, trapped in your mind. I'm not sure I ever felt that way, honestly. But yeah, I don't know, so let's give this video a shot.
Did you know that you have a choice where in your mind you spend the most time in? In fact, you can choose to reside anywhere in your mind that you want to. You have that choice. But most people don't realize this. Most people aren't even aware where in their mind they spend their time in. Imagine your mind like a mansion, a huge house with many, many, many different rooms within it. And you are pure awareness walking into this mansion. Now, you can go anywhere in this mansion. You can go to the games room. They probably have a home theater. They have a kitchen, a dining room, a formal living room, perhaps a library, an office, bedrooms, guest bedrooms, bathrooms, toilets. So you walk up the stairs, you go to the second floor, you walk down a corridor, you open a door, you enter a room. You find yourself in the home office of this mansion, and you have an experience of the home office. Now, you can stay there as long as you want, or if you don't like being there, you could just step out of the room, close the door behind you, and keep walking down the corridor. And if you keep walking down the corridor and you decide to open the door to another room, then perhaps you walked into the master bedroom. And it's this big, beautiful room with poster beds and a beautiful bathroom with a bathtub and lovely shower and vanity and the whole works. And you say, I'd like to spend time over here. This seems like a lovely place to be. The mind is no different as well. Our awareness moves within the mind all the time. The mind doesn't move, it's awareness that moves within the mind. Now, at any point in time, I
um, Kind of weird when he says this. I don't think of awareness necessarily moving because it's never in one spot, obviously. Those who are Advaita Vedantins, and it's never in one spot, it's in all the spots. So I was going to kind of make that counter towards perhaps if there's a good point to pause, but I just want to make this right here, right now, just because he made the statement I don't want to forget. Um, so I'll make the counter argument a little bit, perhaps towards the end, depending on what he says. I do understand what he's trying to say, and I'm thinking this is more for people who, obviously, who don't study Advaita Vedanta, and also mostly for Western audience. I'm pretty sure, because I do believe that we do see our awareness as this intangible thing that's an object that's like a spark of light that moves, and wherever it's at is where we're aware.
it's awareness that moves within the mind. Now, at any point in time, either you are moving your awareness to a particular area of the mind, or someone or something around you is dictating where your awareness is going. Now, if you allow your environment to control your awareness, you could end up in an unhappy area of the mind. You can end up in a jealous area of the mind. You could end up in a happy area of the mind. The goal is for you to have mastery over your awareness. So you decide where in the mind you want to spend most of your time, just like a cat in the house. If you have a cat, the cat probably has a favorite place it likes to take naps in. Maybe on a windowsill with a little bit of afternoon sun on it, maybe on a couch, maybe on your blanket. But it has its spot, and that's where it goes all the time. People tend to create that in their life as well. Some people like to go to the sad area of the mind and just live there and wallow in their sadness. They feel very comfortable there. They, in fact, feel so safe there. Sometimes we can get comfortable with things that don't even serve us well, because to go to somewhere new can be very fearful. Other people make a happy area of the mind their home, and that's where they go and reside all the time. Some people make a jealous area the area of the mind that they go to, and that's where they spend the most time. But at the end of the day, what is most important to realize is that you have a choice. You always have a choice. Now, it may not be an easy choice, but you do have a choice. If you learn how the mind works, you learn about awareness in the mind, you learn how to focus, and you learn how to develop willpower, then you can learn how to take your awareness and move it to the areas of the mind that are uplifting, that are rewarding, that bring more joy and happiness to your life.
Okay, actually, I think he's not talking about awareness, consciousness awareness. Not in terms of Advaita Vedanta for sure. It's more like he's actually talking about not consciousness or awareness, but he's talking about more of the mind itself. The ego, perhaps, would be a better term for that. And that would make a lot more sense where the ego itself is going into these cavernous caves of rooms. So, okay, obviously, the consciousness, in terms of Advaita Vedanta, it is everywhere. So you cannot pick and choose where you go, obviously, but you can. It's really weird. I mean, trying to think how to explain this because it's not like you can turn things off. Consciousness is always on, and it's always aware of everything. So it is technically the ego or the mind that you have to control. And and being an understanding of who you are, I think does obviously it does help in terms of controlling the mind because then you realize that what you're thinking of is just mostly meaningless, mind you. So when you when you think about these things, you just you don't there's no turning off anything. You just have to understand. This is how I do things. So I'm explaining how I would do it. It's understanding, plain and simple. It's just if you understand a situation, then you know what you can and cannot do. So, like for example, if like you did something at work and your boss, calls you, it's like, hey, what did you do? Like he's worried, like you might be in trouble. So I was like, all right, I have to see you when you come in, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so worried. What did I do? You start thinking about all the things that you're just like suffering from your panic. You're thinking like, what's going on? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do all day? And just at this point, it's like, you have to realize like, well, I don't know what I did. I can think about it calmly because panicking is not going to solve anything. Panicking will make things worse. If you can understand that, hopefully you won't be panicking anymore. Again, everyone's a little bit different. This is how it works for me, and I'm hoping it works for most people. Panicking and crying and yelling and screaming and all that, generally speaking, doesn't help the situation. So if you want to make the situation worse, then you can do those things. If you want to make the situation better, then obviously understand that doing those things does not help. Hopefully that'll help some people. I don't know how many. Five, one, none. I don't know. um, and then just start things like, okay, what did I do today? I ate lunch. I worked on this project. I thought I did my best, and I thought I did really well. I didn't see it. I don't think I have any mistakes. And then that's about it. Must be the project. Did pretty good. Don't know what I could have done wrong. I guess I'll find out when I get there. And obviously, it's easier said than done. There's no doubt about that. But it gets easier the more you. It's kind of like practicing stuff. It gets easier the more you do things. The more you're exposed to these things, really, and how you handle it. So that's the best advice I can give. This is how I see things. How I don't suffer necessarily from the world so much anymore is because I try to understand the situation and I understand what is helpful and what is not helpful. If crying is helpful, I'll be bawling out. I'll be like, "Oh my god!" Ugh. But if it doesn't help, then I'll stop because what's the point? I'm not helping the situation. I don't want to make it worse, and I'd rather do things to help the situation out. So, what else? I think that's about it so far. So, feeling trapped in your mind. So, if you're in Advaita Vedanta, you're not definitely not trapped in your mind, obviously, but at the same time, you are aware of everything, and it is the mind, the ego that you do have to control, because that's the only thing that feels all the emotions and everything. And when you understand that you're not the ego, the mind, things become much simpler. Not necessarily that you're enlightened, just you understand that you're not the ego and the mind. Kind of like I said, when you understand that you're not those things, it does become easier. Again, I'm not I'm not completely immune to suffering in this world, but that's where I'm kind of confused. Where was it Sadhguru or is it Swami Sarvarpiyananda? I think it was Swami Sarvarpiyananda. Almost made it seem like if you're enlightened, you no longer suffer in this world. But then at the same time, I think Swami here, actually Swami Sarvarpiyananda as well, has said that Swami Vivekananda cried as well, even though he's considered to be enlightened, which was like, which is it then? you know, he's crying is assumed suffering, mind you. Again, according to what Swami said in both situations, where if you're enlightened, you don't suffer. So I guess maybe he's talking about your true self, awareness consciousness. Awareness consciousness never suffers. Whether you're enlightened or not, it doesn't suffer. So that it can't be that, I don't think, unless he's talking to a Western audience. So maybe to reiterate that as awareness consciousness, your true self does not suffer no matter what. So to say that to someone that when you're enlightened, you don't suffer. It's not to say that your body doesn't suffer still. Obviously, it still does physically, but I figured emotionally too, but perhaps not. But your body will still suffer emotionally, but your true self does not, which that would make sense. And the reason why Swami Vivekananda also still cries in the whenever he was alive and considered to be enlightened. So nice, that's my reaction to feeling trapped in your own mind. I don't think I ever honestly ever felt that way. Maybe I have. If I have, I didn't know it. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up to stand down below. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next vid.